Hello, good evening. It's News 360 coming to you live from the News Hub here at Adesawe Kanda. I am Portia, Gabor.
And I am Martin, Asiedu-Dartey. These are the headlines for the next 1 hour.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal,
EcoBank.
Ghana Armed Forces commence peace enforcement operations in Bawku in the Upper East region as part of efforts to contain renewed tensions.
And also tonight's race for Akwatia by-elections hits up with a month to decide which party wins the seat.
And later in the bulletin, gridlock on Kintampo Tamale Highway as trailer blocks road, leaving commuters stranded.
In business news, industry advocates demand NPA's mandate to be amended to separate its regulatory and fund management roles to halt under declaration of proceeds.
On the international front, police in Angola say 4 people have been killed and 500 arrested after demonstrations in the central capital, Luanda. We have details of all these stories and more. We always love to hear from you, so do let your messages come in.
The news now in detail, and President John Mahama has condemned the recent killings in Bawku and Nalerigu that claimed the lives of 3 students believed to be linked to the chieftaincy conflict. In a strongly worded condemnation, the president says the killings could have been done by persons whose efforts are aimed at derailing the peace mediation by the Asantehene that is almost seeing its conclusion. He has given backing to the armed forces to strictly enforce peace in the enclave. He made this known when the overlord of the Gonja traditional area, Yagbonwura B. Kunutu Jehu Swale I, paid a courtesy call on him.
I take this occasion to appeal to our brothers and sisters, Kusasis and Mamprusis, to give peace a chance. We cannot accept the current situation where students are shot in school and killed. We can't accept the current situation where teachers, public officers have all run away from Bawku because they are afraid for their lives. And we have given the mediation efforts to Otumfo, and he has briefed me constantly on the progress that he's been making. And we are almost there. And so the current fighting and killings can only be done by people who want to derail the mediation effort. And so let's give peace a chance. But as the army has announced, I have directed the army to move from peacekeeping to peace enforcement. That means they're going to be a bit more robust with anybody who is involved in criminality. And so let us give peace a chance, not only in Bawku, but in Nkwanta and all the other places where we currently are suffering conflict. Your Majesty, the values of unity, patriotism, and compassion are more urgent than ever. We must resist the forces of division and exclusion that undermine our shared heritage. Your Majesty, Gonja land is made up of different people of diverse languages and culture, but we are all united as one. Let us see each other as each other's keeper, and let us open opportunities in Savannah to everyone in Savannah, no matter your language or your culture.
So clearly, the development in Bawku is affecting not just academic works, but entirely the people in the area are under quite some duress and stress. Let's look at the key developments that have happened in the last few weeks since the renewed clashes started. There are some schools that have closed as a result of the conflict. Now, Bawku Senior High School was shut down in July 2025, this particular month, after a student was shot dead on campus. Again, 3 students so far, as of July 2025, have died, 1 from Bawku Senior High School and 2 from Nalerigu Senior High School. And they were all shot on campus by unknown gunmen. Then student evacuation. We know that the Ghana Education Service began evacuating senior high school candidates to safer areas to sit for their exams. And that in itself is quite concerning, because how do you write exams under such strenuous conditions? Again, a number of schools that have been affected so far include the senior high schools I mentioned, Bawku Senior High School, and then the Bawku municipality also has come under quite some pressure. Again, Nalerigu has also been impacted. The Presbyterian Nursing and Midwifery College have also decided, or that particular institution has also been shut down. And theirs is even as far back as 2024 in November. That was when they got wind of what was happening and decided to close down. What security measures have been put in place? So far, we know that the armed police service officers were deployed to campuses, and government has given assurance that no student will be denied the opportunity to write this year's West Africa Senior High School certificate exam. Again, Ghana Education Service has given indications that they are providing counseling for students and teachers suffering trauma from violence and peer deaths, clearly, because they know the students that have died, it definitely will be having some impact on them psychologically, for which reason some psychological assistance is being provided.
And as the 2025 WASI approaches, students in Bawku are facing growing uncertainty and fear amid ongoing conflict and insecurity in the area. The recent violence, including the tragic killing of 3 senior high school students, has forced authorities to shut down the schools. Let's speak to Head of Public Affairs of WAEC, Mr. John Kapi. Mr. Kapi, good evening and thank you so much for joining us. First of all, can you confirm if the WASI will take place in centers located in areas like Bawku and Nalerigu?
Good evening and thanks for having me. Yes, as we speak, plans are far advanced to conduct examinations in these areas.
And what security measures are you putting in place to ensure the safety of not only the students as well as the invigilators and teachers?
Well, I believe that for safety, the state has taken the lead by deploying a number of security personnel within the area. In terms of the custody of our question papers, we are not going to hold what we call our examination depot in Bawku itself. We have a depot in Zebila, so we are going to increase our personnel in Zebila so as to be able to take care of all the schools within the Bawku municipality. In terms of security, we are very sure that the police and the military would be on hand to escort the question papers and personnel to and from the examination centers.
There are also some concerns by the students that the presence of maybe the military or armed forces in and around the school could also intimidate them. Have you considered this?
Well, as far as examination rules are concerned, we ensure that the personnel do not walk into the halls where the candidates are. Besides, we also have rules. I mean, if the security personnel are available in those areas, they are not allowed to go into any examination hall. So, depending on the nature of the school, the security personnel can be at the outskirts of the school to ward off any intruders in order that the atmosphere is created for them to write the exam. The supervisors and invigilators are aware of these rules, and then we are very sure that they will enforce them to the letter.
Just before you go, will psychological support also be provided?
Well, when it comes to this kind of support, it's usually spearheaded by the Ghana Education Service, and I believe that considering the situation that is on hand in that particular area, they would be on hand to provide that in order that the candidates will be in the right frame of mind to write the examinations.
Thank you so much for your time. John Kapi is Head of Public Affairs at WAEC.
And still on the same subject, we gave indications that the Ghana Armed Forces has commenced peace enforcement in Bawku and its environs in the Upper East region as part of plans to stabilize the area and contain renewed tensions. The operations led by the Chief of Army Staff Major General Lawrence Kweku Bitanu, began with intensified patrols across the town to enforce compliance of the revised curfew and to prevent further escalation of violence. Troops moved throughout Bawku earlier today, and actually as we speak, we're told that they are still there, maintaining a visible presence. In a minute, we'll speak to our Upper East Regional Correspondent Castro Sanyala, who is on the ground with the military to get a sense of what's been going on since the renewed curfew was imposed. And now they're going to be, it starts from 2 p.m. to 6 a.m. That's quite intensive. And like the president indicated, it is peace enforcement, not just peacekeeping. And Castro has joined us live on Zoom for a quick chat on this. Castro, thank you for joining us. Paint a picture for us as we speak. What's the situation like where you are in Bawku? Kindly unmute, Castro. Yes, I can hear you now, Castro.
Yeah, Martin, I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, so you were telling us what
Hello,
the situation is now.
Yes. So like I was saying, it's been a long day of hectic rounds with the military. And as we speak now, I am reporting from the barracks, but I get the understanding in the picture that the men are there in their hundreds in the Bawku township, moving around and ensuring that the area is under security. Earlier on today, the Ghana Army, led by the Chief of Army Staff, Major General Bitanu, went through streets of Bawku. In fact, I would describe that as combed through the streets of Bawku, the entire township, to first of all ensure the compliance of the reviewed curfew and also to, build the peace enforcement that the military and the government have been talking about. Later on, he also sat with his officers where he got some briefing as to the situation on the ground. And he has continuously assured that the military would continue to do what they can to ensure that the Bawku unrests are brought under control and that innocent civilians and the general population in the Bawku general area can go about their duties. He has also stressed the importance of and the commitment of the Ghana Armed Forces to provide the troops with the needed logistics to be able to be effective as far as helping to enforce peace in the area is concerned. The general expressed very, very strong words about the development recently, especially the killing of the 3 students in the separate regions, and says such things shouldn't happen. He boosted the morale of the men and told them to be on the ground as much as possible and be professional and listen to their commanders all the way through until the peace is enforced and the area is brought to, some amicable situation. Let's hear what he had to say.
That exercise, we have to review and transform it into a real-time operation to deal with the issue in the Bawku area and other outlying areas. Is that very clear? Yes, and are we prepared for that? Yes, sir. Are we prepared for that? Yes, sir. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. So, as you assembled here, we are no longer going to undertake an exercise, but we are rather going to mount an operation, reinforce our colleagues on exercise Operation Madaburi, and sanitize the area very well. As we used to say in others.
All right, thank you very much, Castro, for that brief update. And definitely, as the President, His Excellency John Mahama, has also spoken on it, we'll see how things play out in the coming days. Castro is our Upper East Regional Correspondent.
In more news tonight, it's been 7 years since the Ghana Police Service last released a comprehensive report on crime in the country. The absence of this critical data has raised serious concerns about transparency, accountability, and public safety. In this report, Wisdom Safo puts the issue under scrutiny.
Section 36 of the Police Service Act of 1970 mandates the police to submit an annual report to the minister who shall then lay it before Parliament. This includes details on national security, policing operations, and most importantly, crime statistics compiled with the support of the Criminal Investigation Department. This report once gave the public and policymakers clear insight into the trends in murder, robbery, assault, fraud, and other offences categorised by region and by crime type. But the last full report was published in 2018, covering data only up to 2017. Since then, there's been no release, no update, and no official explanation. Deputy Commissioner of Police, DCOP Dr. Benjamin Agojo, then ACP, openly criticised former IGP Dr. George Kufuor-Dampare for withholding crime data. According to him, the decision was less about national security and more about managing public perception.
We release crime statistics to organizations. Now you can't have it. You can't have it. It's one of the means of telling you that everything is under control. So that when there's high crime, you wouldn't even know. He's concealing everything. And so he can come and tell you that, oh, his administration crime has been brought to the lowest. And he has messed the whole system.
With the new IGP, Christian Tete Yohonu, in office, there's growing pressure to restore transparency. Public safety begins with making information available for people to make informed decisions.
Let's now bring this issue into perspective and speak to Mutaru Mumuni Mukhtar, the founder and executive director of the West Africa Center for Counter-Extremism. Good evening and thank you so much for your time. First of all, what is your own assessment of the current security situation in the country, especially in the absence of the latest official crime reports?
The current security situation involves a lot in terms of what has improved, what has not, and new dimensions to security. Of course, and we are speaking in the context of very limited crime statistics overall. But we're seeing areas that are deteriorating in terms of, the prevalence of those incidents. For instance, we're seeing increasing trend of gun violence amongst young people in educational institutions. Some of them involve serious levels of fatality and injuries. We're seeing crimes becoming very, very pervasive within cyberspace. It's become a big phenomenon. And it appears to be, several miles ahead of state capacity to prevent or even to mitigate the impact of cyber security. We're seeing situations of ethnic and chieftaincy and land-related violence erupting in several parts of the country in a very, very violent fashion. But of course, the traditional focus has been the Bawku conflict, which continues to be a big source of violence, a big source of fatality and injuries. Yeah. So this put together gives us a very, very grim, very, poor security profile we are confronted with.
So why are these figures so important in the current state of security in the country?
What we are talking about is a very, very serious matter. We are living in times that are influenced significantly by technology and innovation. We need technology, innovation, and data to drive what we do. And it is a significant, it's a very, very big blunder not to provide statistics on crimes in our country. And so for me, the idea that, the Ghana Police Service causes or halts or stops releasing data on crime in our country, it's a big blot on the image of the security space. We need to ensure that we go back to, beginning from the 2018 up to this point, update the public, the waiting public on crime statistics. Crime statistics are so important that without it, we would just be groping in the dark. Yeah. We would just be struggling to determine what to do around the security space.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. Mutaru Mumuni Mukhtar, founder and executive director of the West Africa Center for Counter-Extremism.
Now, with 2/3 majority in Parliament, one would have thought that the National Democratic Congress would not be interested in the Akwatia by-election to elect an MP, but the party has promised to go all out for the seat. Evelyn Tingma reports that with about a month to go before the election, both the NDC and NPP are preparing for what is expected to be a closely contested race.
The Akwatia by-election is gradually heating up, with both the National Democratic Congress NDC and the New Patriotic Party NPP gearing up for a fierce battle. The by-election scheduled for September 2, 2025 was necessitated by the demise of the sitting NPP Member of Parliament, Ernest Yaokumi, on July 7, 2025. Already, the NPP is said to have selected Chief Executive Officer of a mining company, Solomon Kwame Asiedu, as its parliamentary candidate. The NDC, on the other hand, has announced August 4 for its parliamentary primary, with nominations opened on July 28 and will close on July 30. The party is expected to vet the aspirants on July 31. 3 individuals have declared their interest to contest for the NDC ticket: Henry Boachi Yadom, the party's 2024 parliamentary candidate and a one-time MP for Akwatia; Erasmus Koni Ali, an assembly member; and Bernard Bediako Beidu, a lawyer and NDC constituency secretary for Akwatia. But the question is, with the NDC already having a super majority in parliament, does the Akwatia seat really matter? First Deputy Majority Whip is Comfort Doyo.
Hey, so if it's raining, would the sea say, I have water already, so the rain should not come in? Oh, it's raining in the sea, but there is a lot of sea water there. There should be an MP that can lobby and lobby properly for the good people of Akwatia. You see, because we have a lot of things John Mahama is going to do for the good people of Ghana. And if you are a member of parliament for NDC, it's easy lobbying than you are in opposition. So nobody should go and advise Akwatia people that they should go and vote for opposition member. No. If you do that, you are not helping your constituency. If it were to be general election, that's where you don't know who is winning. But this one, you know who has won.
She said the seat is a done deal for the NDC.
We have taken that seat twice, and they have also taken it twice, ever since it was divided. So Akwatia is no man's land.
With about a month to go before the by-election, both parties are expected to campaign vigorously, making it a closely contested race. Evelyn Tinkma, TV3 News, Accra.
And the minority in parliament says Ghanaians are now worse off, stating that the 2025 mid-year budget review offers no hope to the Ghanaian worker. The caucus on Tuesday launched a scathing critique of the mid-year fiscal policy review, accusing government of economic mismanagement.
Also remember, we have consistently stated that the government did not provide budget for the 24-hour economy. The minister has now conceded in the mid-year review that it will provide funding in the 2026 budget to implement the program. The question is, why do you launch a program when you have no budget to implement it? We know, but we on the minority side know why the minister has failed to fund these priority programs of the government. We know. Because the records show that out of the total 28 treasury auctions held from January 3rd, 2025 to July 11, 2025, 13 auctions failed to meet the auction target. Therefore, the minister had to divert the funds meant for these priority programs to fund the auction shortfall, which would not have arisen if he had not manipulated interest rates on government treasuries.
This is not the first time that we are having our debt stock reduced. It cannot be true. Between November and December 2022, Ghana's debt stock, on account of the heavy appreciation of the cedi that time, reduced from 382.7 billion cedis to 240.9 billion cedis, i.e., Ghana's debt stock reduced from November 2022 to December 2022 by 141.8 billion cedis.
In more news tonight, President John Mahama says enduring legacies of slavery, colonial exploitation, systemic racism and economic subjugation are still evident in modern-day Africa. Speaking at the African Union High-Level Dialogue on Democracy, Governance and Human Rights, President John Mahama, who also serves as the AU champion on reparative justice, noted that young people across the continent are growing increasingly impatient.
Since 1993, the African Union has been having conversations that border specifically on issues about reparations and how African countries that have been plundered or looted, especially by European countries, can start getting something back. Over the years, conversations are still being had, and the missing component of all of that is concrete action. Ghana is playing host to the 13th high-level dialogue under the auspices of the African Union, and Ghana's president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, has challenged the African Union and by extension all other African leaders to ensure that all the proposals and agreements on paper are converted into concrete action so that the youth who are increasingly becoming agitated can see something tangible.
This dialogue cannot afford to become another ceremonial event filled with lofty speeches but void of action. Our citizens are watching and waiting. Our young people comprise the majority of our population and are growing increasingly impatient. They are not asking for charity, they demand fairness, they demand opportunity and a stake in our continent's future. Civil society is mobilized, our diaspora is engaged, and our institutions, though still evolving, are increasingly bold and ready to deliver. I wish to commend the African Union Executive Council for extending the theme of the year on reparations to a decade on reparations. And so from 2026 to 2036 has been declared as the decade of reparations by the African Union.
Ghana's Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa expressed optimism that the final outcome of this meeting will be something that can be translated into the democratic ideals that the country is noted for, and by extension, other African nations, or the African Union for that matter, would be able to consolidate their democratic ideals and governance and their human rights as well.
We aspire for this conference to go beyond conventional dialogue. May it provide a distinguished platform for the exchange of innovative ideas, facilitate open and sincere discussions, and cultivate a collective commitment to nurturing an African continent where rights are respected, voices are heard, justice is upheld, the democratic dividend is consciously harnessed, and opportunities are created for the many and not the few.
In more news tonight, commuters on the Kintampo-Tamale Highway faced significant disruption today after a trailer with the registration number AS1438Z experienced a critical brake failure near the Kintampo waterfalls, bringing traffic to a complete standstill and left many stranded.
The articulated truck, heavily loaded with B5 Angle iron, veered and came to rest diagonally across the major road, effectively creating an impassable barrier for vehicles traveling in both directions. The incident, which occurred around 11:30 p.m. on Sunday, has left a long line of frustrated drivers and passengers stranded. According to initial reports from eyewitnesses at the scene, the driver of the trailer lost control after the vehicle's brakes reportedly failed as it approached the Kintampo Waterfalls area, a known stretch with varying terrain. Despite the driver's efforts to regain control, the sheer weight of the B5 Angle iron cargo made it impossible to prevent the truck from crisscrossing the highway. Motorists are expressing their frustration.
Just 2 days.
I'm supposed to be at the border in 2 days, yet I'm here. I don't know if I will be charged when I get to the border. Something must be done. For all being affected, we hope something can be done so we can move the vehicle.
Meanwhile, the Municipal Chief Executive MC for Kintampo North, Asiedu-Dartey, has assured the public that immediate steps are being taken to address the situation. He indicated that emergency services are being mobilized to the site to help restore normalcy.
Since morning 4 a.m. up to now, I manage a clear road no social. Once a car and afina anya airport.
We have been here since 4 a.m. and have been able to clear the road. We hope to get the truck off the road for easy access.
So that left and right cars are parking or Kintampo.
The presence of the heavy angle line has posed a significant challenge to any immediate efforts to move the trailer. As of late afternoon, emergency services and towing vehicles were yet to arrive at the scene. Motorists planning to use the Tamatamali route are advised to seek alternative routes or delay their journeys until the obstruction at Stronwase is cleared. Authorities are expected to provide updates on the situation as soon as a recovery operation is underway. The incident is likely to cause significant delays through to the evening.
This is still News 360 on TV3. Stay with us. We have business, sport, entertainment all coming up.
Reporting from the Takoradi Market Circle, from the heart of the Upper West Regional Capital,
from the heart of the Ashanti Kingdom,
reporting from Sunyani, from the Central Business District of Navrongo.
The parliamentarians are on recess.
This is where it all unfolds, the moments that potentially alters the course of our nation and the world. These are the individuals we recognize, the voices we amplify, who appears on screen and who contributes behind the scenes. With professionalism at our core, we bring you news you can trust. Impact journalism that makes a difference. This illustrates how diverse perspectives enhance our strength and reinforces our mission. This is 3 News. Leaders in breaking news, exclusive interviews, facts and analysis on TV, radio, online and digital. 3 News, first in news.
Time now for business. Michael Ogbodo is with us. Hello, Mike.
Hi, people.
What one in business?
Well, basically, there's some CSOs are calling for NPA's regulatory role to be decoupled from its fund management role.
Okay. Right. Okay, let's get the details.
You get it?
Yeah.
I like that. Hello there. Good evening. Welcome to the business segment here on News360. I am Michael Ogbodo. Now, the National Petroleum Authority, NPA, is facing intense scrutiny over its management of key national petroleum funds, with calls for a complete overhaul of its mandate to ensure transparency and accountability. A recent analysis by some industry watchers highlights a systemic lack of disclosure and apparent under-declaration of significant surpluses from three major funds, urging government to decouple the NPA's regulatory role from its financial management responsibilities.
The analysis by the Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy, SEMSE, and Revenue Mobilization Africa, RMA, shows that the NPA accumulates over 3 billion cedis in annual surplus income from these three funds, with no public disclosure of their utilization. The UPPF, generating 4 billion cedis annually, showed a 2022 deficit and a much lower reported surplus in 2023 compared to estimated inflows. With no clear public accounting since 2015, the PDM, generating over 1.3 billion cedis, reportedly yields 900 million cedis in uncounted annual surpluses. For the CRM, a fee of $80 per metric ton, over $30 million has accrued, yet a significant $9.9 million surplus from the past 5 months of 2025 remains undisclosed despite minimal actual use by consumers. Executive Director of SEMSE, Benjamin Nsia, recounts what accrues from the cylinder recirculation margin.
It is estimated that it realizes in excess of $2 million on a monthly basis. So from April last year to today, we are talking in excess of $30 million. Yet NPA has never disclosed how these funds have been utilized.
They are calling for a comprehensive audit of all NPA managed funds for the periods covering 2021 to 2024, decoupling of its regulatory role from its fund management activities, and the transfer of all fund management responsibilities from the NPA to the Ministry of Finance.
The excess surpluses that have been accrued over the years to this particular regulator or regulatory entity must be accounted for, and in future, we must look at amending the Act of NPA so that we can decouple the fund management activities from the regulatory activities, and that engenders accountability, transparency.
The National Pensions Regulatory Authority, NPRA, has urged the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SNIT, to speed up governance reforms and diversify its investments, warning that Ghana's National Pension Fund remains exposed to potential economic shocks. The scheme was amongst a number of institutions impacted by the domestic debt exchange program implemented by the previous government as part of its mandated debt restructuring program. NPRA Deputy Chief Executive Victor Azuma Mejida, speaking at the launch of SNIT's 60th anniversary celebrations in Accra, acknowledged improvements in SNIT's coverage and administrative efficiency, but noted that recent crises such as the COVID-19 pandemic and the debt exchange program have highlighted deep-seated vulnerabilities.
The domestic debt exchange program serves as a stark reminder that the most trusted asset carry risk. The NPRA therefore encourages the board and management of SNIT to deepen reforms that strengthen governance, diversified investment, embrace innovation, and enhance operational efficiency.
SNIT Director General Kwesi Afrebaini has also reaffirmed the scheme's commitment to maintaining its track record of timely payments to beneficiaries. He described SNIT as a strategic partner and a vital lifeline for pensioners across the country.
We have never defaulted on pension payments, and we assure you we never will. Social Security is more than monthly pensions. Our job is to support you through every season of life, through unexpected hardships and losses. Let me tell you about a 99-year-old pensioner. He has been receiving monthly pension from SNIT for nearly 40 years. We've paid each month without fail, and each year we have adjusted to reflect the living conditions of the time.
GCB Bank PLC has officially launched the salary advance option on its mobile banking app, revolutionizing the way customers access funds in times of need. With this innovative feature, customers can now bypass the need to visit physical bank branches for salary advance transactions.
The novel product, the first to be provided by any commercial bank in the country, underscores the bank's commitment to delivering customer-centric services that leverages technology to meet the evolving financial needs of Ghanaians. Eligible customers who have received their salaries through the bank for 3 consecutive months can access up to 80% of their salary as an advance. While addressing the media, Executive Head of Retail Banking, Sina Kamagate, said the salary advance is to support customers when there is an emergency.
There are challenges midway, and so when you have emergencies, how do you deal with those emergencies? And sometimes these emergencies don't go beyond 2 days. They are 30 minutes and you need to be sorted. So how do people who have such emergencies get support? And so what GCB is saying is that if you are a salaried worker, you can advance you 80% of your salary.
He also clarified that deductions for the salary advance will apply solely to the salaries of customers, ensuring that other credits remain unaffected.
GCB has embarked on a digital transformation that actually know monies as they come through. What we are saying is that your salary advance is going to be repaid only with your salary. So other credits you receive in the account remain your credit to use.
GCB Bank's commitment to innovation and customer satisfaction is evident in its expanding range of digital services, including mobile banking, internet banking, and debit card services.
We'll turn our attention now to the currency and commodities market and bring you updates. And that'll be all for the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. Up next is sports.
Reporting from the Takoradi Market Circle, from the heart of the Upper West Regional Capital.
From the heart of the Ashanti Kingdom.
Reporting from Sunyani.
From the Central Business District of Navrongo.
The parliamentarians are on recess.
This is where it all unfolds. The moments that potentially alters the course of our nation and the world. These are the individuals we recognize, the voices we amplify, who appears on screen and who contributes behind the scenes. With professionalism at our core, we bring you news you can trust, impact journalism that makes a difference. This illustrates how diverse perspectives enhance our strength and reinforces our mission. This is 3 News. Leaders in breaking news, exclusive interviews, facts and analysis on TV, radio, online and digital. 3 News, first in news.
Tank Oil.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on News 360 with me, Oreku Ampofo. We do start off with news just coming in, and that's the fact that President John Mahama has urged the Minister of Interior to prioritize recruiting athletes into security services to help nurture talent. The President reviewed this during a meeting with the Black Queens on Tuesday evening as they finished third at the just-ended Women's Africa Cup of Nations.
I've also asked the Minister of Interior to give priority to sports people when we do recruitment into the security services. Because in the past, when we brought sports people into the security services, it gave them the opportunity and the equipment and the facilities to train and improve themselves. And so even after the children finish the senior high school, we bring them into the security service, into police, immigration, prisons, fire service, and all that. And we used to have the security services games, CESA games. Yeah, we must, I don't know if it still goes on, but you don't hear much about it now. But we must reintroduce the CESA games, let the security services compete amongst themselves. And then Kurt and Co will be standing there and watching, and then just picking the talents one by one and forming their national teams. I want to pledge our support to the FA. We'll do everything we can to support you in the work you're doing.
Well, let's still stay with the Black Queens because Member of Parliament for Menchia South, Nana Ejay Bafo Ewa, has called on the government to prioritize parity in earnings for the Black Queens in line with the Affirmative Action Act. He made this declaration during the Black Queens' visit to Parliament after winning bronze medal in the Women's AFCON.
I am calling on the Minister, Mr. Speaker, to advert his mind to the Affirmative Action Act. Mr. Speaker, by ensuring that these glorious Black Queens, Mr. Speaker, have parity in terms of their earnings. As much as what the Black Stars are earning, Mr. Speaker, we should also give them something closer. That's right. Mr. Speaker, the Affirmative Action Act, which was passed by this House, luckily for us, the Minister is a member of this House. Mr. Speaker, we need to enforce it. The situation where the Black Stars will earn so much money, but the women earn very little, Mr. Speaker, is unfair and breaches the spirit and letter of the Affirmative Action Act. And so, Mr. Minister, very respectfully, the Black Stars are given huge bonuses. Let's give our women huge bonuses for the group stage.
So that's the note on which we'll be wrapping up the sports segment here on News 360. You can get some more reactions on our social media handles at 3sportsGH. My name is Oreku Ampofo.
Styled. And Napa Foods. Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Coil. Powered by 3 Entertainment.
Well, tonight in this segment, key figures in the showbiz industry have joined the growing outpour of tributes to the late Ghanaian music legend Charles Kwadwo, popularly known as Daddy Lumba. On Tuesday afternoon, renowned personalities including Oboba J.A. Adofo, Kwesi Che Dakwa, veteran sound engineer Fred Che Mensah, along with several fans, gathered at the late musician's East Legon residence. They came to pay their respects and sign the book of condolence opened to honor his enduring legacy.
The iconic composer, described by some music enthusiasts as the greatest Ghanaian musician in the last 100 years, died on Saturday, July 26, after a short illness. The Book of Condolence, which was opened in honor of the widely celebrated musician, has attracted people from all walks of life. Throughout Tuesday, a steady stream of people visited his East Legon residence to sign a special Book of Condolence opened to allow fans and public pay their respects. Guitarist and the founder of Sweet Talks band, Smart and Cancer, described the late singer as the remarkable person. Ace sound engineer Fred Che Mensah, who had extensive working relationship with the late Daddy Lumba, was also present to sympathize with the family. As part of arrangements to honor his memory, there will be a candlelit vigil night at the Independence Square on Saturday, August 2. Meanwhile, the public has been urged to continue to respect the privacy of the family as they mourn their loss, while also joining the family to celebrate the extraordinary life and enduring legacy of the music legend affectionately called DL.
And that's it for our show this evening. Thank you so much for watching. I am Martin Asiedu-Dartey. Remember that at 9 p.m., Beatrice Edu comes your way with Agenda.
Do also join Alfredo Kansa at 10 p.m. for Ghana Tonight. Good evening.